because they too know the critical importance and the direct relationship a trained and skilled workforce plays in growing and sustaining a vibrant economy. This is also a great example of how the state of Louisiana provides the facilities and resources needed to build a skilled and qualified workforce that helps individuals attain a better quality of life for themselves and their families. So, at this time, I'd like to ask Kyle Edmiston, President and CEO of Lake Charles, to say a few, visit Lake Charles, to say a few words. Kyle?
Thank you, Dr. Aspinwall. It is a fantastic day, and thank you all for being here with us today. As he mentioned, travel, tourism, gaming, and hospitality is big business in Southwest Louisiana. We're one of only 2 destinations in the state of Louisiana to have multiple 1,000-plus room hotel properties within that destination. Last year, over $750 million was spent in our community from travel and tourism activities. So you can see what an impact travel has on the economy and the workforce in Southwest Louisiana. But following COVID and the 2 storms, no industry was hit harder in its workforce than the gaming, culinary, and hospitality industry. As you can recall, restaurants were closed, takeout only. Our casinos spent over almost 2 months being closed to the public, and then very slow in coming back. And so our workforce has been devastated. This facility is critical in our rebound as we come back from the 2 storms and from the COVID pandemic. We are so excited to see the graduates that come from this facility. The entire tourism industry in Louisiana, not just Southwest Louisiana, is going to benefit from this facility. And so on behalf of the tourism industry, I want to thank everyone from Governor Edwards to Dr. Aspinwall and everyone whose hands have funded, built, and opened this facility. We thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. Next, I'd like to welcome the president of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury, Chris Landry. Chris?
Thank you, Dr. Aspinwall. First off, I'd like to congratulate you and your staff for another milestone here at SOWELA. That is actually just an absolutely beautiful facility. I'd also like to recognize my fellow police jurors that are here today. Let's see, make sure I don't miss anybody. We got Mr. Tony Gilry, Mr. Eddie Lewis, Mr. Anthony Bartee, Mr. Big Mike Smith up front. We love that hat, Mike. It's always a guess. Which one's he going to wear today? Although I don't think I've ever seen the same one twice. And then from our staff, we have Mr. Brian Beam, our administrator, and assistant administrator, Mr. Dane Bowling. I don't think I missed anybody. And Mr. Alberto Galan's also here from administration. And Miss Jessica Booth. We definitely cannot forget Jessica. She's really what's holding this whole thing together. SOWELA's spring enrollment is up over 33%. And I can tell you, every school in America probably wish that they had numbers like that. I really think you're definitely at the top of the list when it comes to 33%. I really doubt that most even have double digits. I think under Dr. Aspinwall's leadership, he's done a great job at figuring out what the community needs in terms of education. And when he figures out what they're looking for, he's made that a reality on more than one occasion, which is not an easy thing to do. I kind of think maybe he's a guy that doesn't take no for an answer, and somebody in his position, that's definitely what we need. The hospitality industry is extremely important to Calcasieu Parish as it employs thousands of people. Everyone that visits here comes into contact with somebody from that industry, whether it be at a hotel, a restaurant, or what have you. And if we have a trained workforce, it's a lot more likely that that experience that those people have when they come here is going to be positive, which in turn, they'll want to come back. And of course, that's what we all want and hope for. And I want to pledge the police jury's ongoing support for SOWELA's educational and career training mission. And in closing, I would like to thank Dr. Aspinwall and SOWELA for having us participate in this celebration. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from our fearless mayor of the city of Lake Charles, Nick Hunter. Nick?
Thank you, Dr. Aspinwall. Good morning, everyone. Dr. Aspinwall is an elected official. I'm very familiar with the phrase, "What have you done for me lately?" But normally you get through at least the ribbon cutting before you lay on another request. I've got a lot of respect for you. I'm going to take a note out of his book. I know a little bit about the hospitality industry, and I think running a good restaurant, probably running a good casino, anything that deals with food and taking care of people is probably about 30% the actual food product. I mean, a lot of people can be at home in their kitchen and cook a decent meal, but to really put that together into a business, into a successful business, takes additional steps. So this facility is so needed for our area. And anyone in this community over the last year who has said, I don't know if Lake Charles is going to be able to bounce back. I don't know if Lake Charles is going to be able to get to where they were before the storms or further, I hope that they're here today. And I hope that they look around at this crowd today and that ridiculous notion can be stomped out completely because we are bouncing back. We're bouncing back in spades. I'm very confident, very optimistic about the future of this community. Right now, in this community, there's over $40 million of investment on our lakefront involved in the type of family-friendly, fun, tourism type of activities we've been wanting for decades. We are sitting and standing on a campus that went through hell 2.5 years ago, and we are looking around and we see progress. We see a campus that's 95% completed, and right now in this community in Southwest Louisiana, though it took too long for us to get it, there's over $1 billion earmarked, over $1 billion earmarked for storm recovery for the people and the businesses and the culture of Southwest Louisiana. All of those examples took a lot of teamwork. There's a lot of people that were involved in making those things happen. But I want to take the opportunity, especially now and over the coming months, anytime I have the public opportunity to do it, to thank one person who is absolutely pivotal and essential for all of those things and dozens more, and that's Governor Edwards. I want y'all to know that Governor John Bel Edwards has been a friend to Southwest Louisiana, and we would not be where we are today and going where we're going without his leadership and his friendship and his help, and I appreciate him. Thank y'all. Now my request. No, I'm just kidding.
Nope, Mayor, I beat you to the trough, so my request goes in first. Please, at this time, help me welcome Judge Gene Thibodeau, who represents the Louisiana Community and Technical College System Facilities Corporation. And this corporation is the actual organization that manages and owns this facility. Judge Thibodeau?
Thank you, Chancellor Aspinwall. Let me fix this. To Governor Edwards, our public officials, our students, our distinguished guests, including Senator Jeremy Stein, who came in a little late. We want to recognize you. This is truly a great occasion to acknowledge really the very personification of what state funds can do. In 2013, the legislature approved Act 360. Act 360 appropriated $252 million to 29 community college projects throughout the state of Louisiana. The Culinary, Gaming, and Hospitality Center is one of those projects that's been funded by Act 360 funds that were approved in 2013. So here we have before you a building that where $9 million was appropriated by the legislature with a 12% local match of $1.2 million. So we have a facility that has a value of about $10.2 million and 28,000 square feet of learning space. So the community is very proud of this project. I'm very proud to sit on the Louisiana Facilities Corporation, which is a component of the community college system. and the members of that board approve and oversee the various bids and projects throughout the community college system in Louisiana. Statistics show that 65% of the jobs, 65% of the jobs in our economy are funded by community college graduates, 65%. And Lake Charles is a heavily industrialized area. We have members of the industry here. We also have an abundance of casinos and hotels and restaurants for which this particular facility will be particularly suited for. You've got a sign before you that says, investing in higher education. That's exactly what we are doing here to build a strong local and state economy and to build a strong and solid middle class. And to paraphrase Frederick Douglass, it's when we educate these young people to go into really higher paying jobs, it is so much easier and better to build strong boys and girls than it is to repair broken men and women. And this facility, SOWELA, and particularly this college gaming and hospitality facility will be, I think it's trying to tell me to sit down. Will be a very significant component in achieving those goals. So we thank everyone who was part of this venture, and we thank all of you for coming out to this glorious occasion. Thank you.
We are very fortunate to have a strong leader for all higher education in Louisiana, and the individual who always made sure I was smiling through the hurricane recovery process. Please welcome Dr. Kim Hunter-Reed, the Louisiana Commissioner of Higher Education. Dr. Reed.
Good morning. It is good to be home to celebrate the comeback community that is Lake Charles, Louisiana. And to the governor and Chancellor Aspinwall, the mayor, the legislators, thank you, all of you, for being here today to celebrate talent development. I came today not to celebrate and cut the ribbon of this fine facility, but I came today because I want to celebrate what's going to happen in this facility, what happens each and every day on this community college campus. Students, young and young at heart, receiving support, education from the faculty and staff who are committed to them. Because we believe in education, because we know it is community development, skill development at its finest. And nobody does it like SOWELA. And so we are very happy to be a part of this celebration, to recognize this community for standing tall, for continuing to move forward despite all of the challenges that have been thrown your way. I too am very proud to say I'm from Lake Charles and to support the work that is happening to rebuild. And I can tell you, since Chancellor Aspinwall went there, he wasn't smiling every day. And I appreciate a leader who does this. When we hit the mark, he'd call and say, I appreciate, Commissioner, the work that you've done. And when we missed the mark, he would call and say, I'm not happy, and let me tell you why. It's going too slow. It's not happening. We need more support. And so I do want to say that I did come to make sure he was smiling today. He is smiling today, and I can see why. But we have to thank a leader who put his community, his campus, and his students before his own home recovery. And I recognize that, Neil, in the tremendous selfless work that you have done as a leader here on this campus. And so I want to come and say I'm happy to be a part of this celebration. SOWELA is a winner. Today is a special day to support talent development. And I'm grateful to everyone who is a part of the resiliency and the pride and the commitment to talent development that we see here today in this campus. Thank you.
Now, would you please welcome the chair of the Louisiana Gaming Board, who I know is Senator Ronnie John. Senator.
Well, good morning, and Dr. Aspinwall, thank you for having me. You know, a lot of people may not realize this or remember this, but right here on this site was a goat farm at one time. That's a true story. And rumor has it that we almost didn't get Dr. Aspinwall to come to SOWELA because of that goat farm that was so. And he said, what kind of school do you have there with a goat farm right across the street? But anyway, to see this beautiful building here today is just a real testament to Dr. Aspinwall's leadership. And you've hit another home run, Dr. Aspinwall, you and your staff. Dr. Aspinwall is directly under the leadership of Dr. Monty Sullivan at the community college system. When I was on Senate Finance, Dr. Sullivan and I had an agreement. I helped him with his budget with the understanding that he made absolutely sure Dr. Aspinwall stayed right here in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And Dr. Sullivan, you're not here today, but I hope you're listening. You did a great job, so thank you very much. But this is a great day for the gaming industry. I know that there are culinary schools around the state. I know there are hospitality programs and other institutions. But this is the first program that will have a gaming component. And let me tell you why it's important. The gaming industry today brings in right about $1 billion a year into our state general fund. That far surpasses any other private industry sector in the state in direct tax dollars. You know, oil and gas was the king daddy for years, and it now is not anymore. It's the gaming industry. And here in Southwest Louisiana, it's even a much more important aspect of our community. The Lake Charles market leads the state by far in the gaming revenue across the state. With 3 casinos and 1 racetrack, we significantly do a lot more in revenue here in Lake Charles than Shreveport-Bossier does with 6 licenses and a racetrack. Consistently $15 to $20 million per month more in revenue right out of the Lake Charles market. So we lead the state right here in Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana, I should say. Let me just share some real quick numbers with you. The gaming industry here in Southwest Louisiana has over 5,000 direct employees. That's a lot of jobs, ladies and gentlemen. They pay benefits. Those jobs contribute to almost $200 million a year of payroll to those employees. And the total spend on procurement for goods and food and service and other areas of procurement is over $400 million a year. So on top of that, just hundreds of millions of dollars of local gaming taxes have gone into our cities and to our colleges and technical schools, community colleges, and also our school systems here in the Southwest Louisiana area. So anyway, Dr. Aspinwall, thank you very much for your vision to make this program happen. It's going to have a huge impact on our gaming industry statewide. In closing, I want to echo something very quickly, what Mayor Hunter said about our governor. The day that Hurricane Laura hit, I was, I guess, unfortunate enough, but part of a delegation from Baton Rouge that flew over Lake Charles in Southwest Louisiana and saw the devastation here. And Governor Edwards stood on that tarmac right across the street over there and told our delegation that his administration would be here for Southwest Louisiana. And Governor, you lived up to your word, and we appreciate that. So, my former colleagues, I miss you, but a lot of it I don't miss. So, opening day, I have a tea time at 8:45 that morning. So, thank you very much for allowing me to be here.
Thank you, Chair and former Senator Johns. So at this time, it is my honor and my great privilege to introduce to you the governor of the great state of Louisiana, John Bel Edwards.
Good morning, everybody. It is great to be back with you here in Lake Charles at SOWELA. Ronnie's talking about gaming in Louisiana, now that he's back home in Lake Charles, reminds me of how I talk about the state of Louisiana when I'm in Tangipahoa Parish. You're over a statewide body there, Ronnie. Look, I wanna thank everybody here because all of you contribute in so many ways, and you do it every day, and it's all vitally important. But there is some tremendous visionary leadership in Southwest Louisiana, and much of it is on this stage with me this morning. And so I want to salute Neil Aspinwall, who does a great job as chancellor here at SOWELA. I want to salute Nick Hunter. Let me tell you, he is not bashful about calling and meeting and asking and pleading, and he has done a tremendous job leading the city of Lake Charles. I want to thank Commissioner Kim Hunter-Reid. You may have seen a few weeks ago, Forbes named her one of the 10 wealthiest women in the country. No, I'm sorry. Unfortunately for her, it wasn't one of the 10 wealthiest women in the country, but fortunately for us, she was named one of the 10 best African-American higher education leaders in the United States of America. And we are all benefiting from that. So it's a great day to be here with all of you to celebrate the first Culinary Gaming and Hospitality Center anywhere in the state of Louisiana. So we don't have one of these in Northwest Louisiana. We don't have one of these in Southeast Louisiana. This is the very first one. And it's critically important because we have to train and prepare people to be workers in this vital and growing service industry. It helps further establish Lake Charles as a hub for careers in hospitality. It brings a much needed boost to Southwest Louisiana as it continues to recover from Hurricanes Laura and Delta. You know, I have visited Lake Charles and Southwest Louisiana many times just recently, but many more times since the storms. And I am continuously inspired by the hardworking folks who live and work here and who've committed themselves to rebuilding this community and making it stronger than ever before. And that requires strategic investments. It requires that visionary leadership that I was talking about. And when you think that the hospitality industry accounts for more than 220,000 jobs statewide, and as you've already heard, brings in billions of dollars worth of revenue, you know how important this is. And therefore, this facility couldn't be more timely because we believe that the workforce needed in hospitality in the state of Louisiana is going to grow by 15% just over the next 3 or 4 years. So there's tremendous opportunity here, but people have to take advantage of that opportunity. And that is what SOWELA is about. That's what our community and technical college system is about. I've been here numerous times with Dr. Aspinwall. I have delivered a baby on this campus. I have, yeah, that's an inside joke, but it was, they forced me into service over at one of these nursing labs over here. I did not drop it, and but I have sampled some of the work of the culinary students here. We have visited on numerous occasions. And this is all about empowering people to be their best selves so they can support themselves and their families and in turn transform and strengthen communities. And that's what we're doing in Louisiana. We have a goal for master education. Master plan for higher education. And it's critically important. We all have a role to make sure we get there. We want 60% of our working age adults to have a high value credential or degree by 2030. Because that's how we're going to be successful. And it's great if you can get those credentials conferred on people while they're still in high school, or at least get them some credits, and then maybe they go to community college or a 4-year institution and they get a degree or whatever. But I will tell you what also excites me, and I see a lot of this here at SOWELA, is when people who are 35, 40, 50 years old, because they've already worked one career, and they realize that there's probably a better opportunity out there for them, and they come back. and they get the credential that they need, or the degree that they need to take advantage of that. And I believe that that's going to happen here as you confer these very important credentials on people for culinary, hospitality, and gaming. So we all have a responsibility to help meet our objectives there. And when we do, it will absolutely transform our state as a whole. And that's really why we invest in higher education. It's about opportunity. It's about empowering people to generate more wealth, to take care of their families. And it's not just about buildings, although you can't do it without buildings. And this is a very nice facility, and funded through Robert Adley's bill from Act 360 years ago. But that gets you a building. It doesn't give you the money to operate it. We're investing recurring dollars in operations too, and we're doing it at a level that we've never done it before in Louisiana. And in this particular instance, it's the Reboot Louisiana program, which is funded through the higher ed initiatives. And I'm just going to say something to you that is so obvious that it probably doesn't need to be said, except that it does. You cannot invest what you do not have. In my first couple years as governor, we did not have. And we have fixed that problem. And what happened when we didn't have the money is we disinvested in higher education more than any other state in the nation. We put the funding formula on its head. We should have about 70% general support and 30% tuition and fees to run these institutions. We turned it exactly upside down and told these young people 70% of the cost of that is going to come from you. And the state's going to put up 30%. Well, we are doing so much better today because of the hard work that has taken place all around the state, but in Baton Rouge, and a lot of it done by these legislators. So I want to thank all of you for that. This coming year's budget continues the emphasis on higher education. The investment will be at historic highs, including faculty pay raises, an increase in formula funding to be distributed throughout the system. In addition, we fully funded TOPS, and we will have more GO-Grant dollars because there are need-based aid for education is also incredibly important for us. And we're going to tackle more deferred maintenance expenses at our higher ed institutions, and we can never cover everything. But we're going to make sure that we are making progress so that our campuses will be even more beautiful. They will allow students to thrive, and yes, they will be safer. So you can look for us to do things that are targeted at enhancing safety on our campuses, including lighting and fencing and cameras and so forth. So I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Louisiana's LCTCS system is absolutely one of the best in the country. That will only be the case as long as we continue to invest in it. And we're going to do that here in Louisiana so long as I have anything to do with it. I'm proud of the work that we've done. And I am proud that we're going to do more to give even more Louisianans opportunities to succeed. And I want to thank you all for the opportunity to be over here with you. Representative DeWitt Carrier, you weren't recognized before we came in, but I wanted to let y'all know he is with us now too. And so I thank you very much for joining us. Thank you all, and God bless. I can't wait to go in and see these tables upstairs. Might be the closest I've ever gotten to a gaming table, but I sit at a table to eat 3 times a day, so the culinary part really excites me too. Thank you all so much, and God bless.
So we finally arrived at the point of the ceremony that we've been waiting on, and that's the official ribbon cutting portion, but just a few closing comments. Once we cut the ribbon, I want to make sure I invite you to a reception the food's been prepared by our culinary students in the beautiful new kitchens of this facility. I'd also like to acknowledge the generosity of Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser for providing the Louisiana seafood for this event. Also, once we break after the ribbon cutting, please feel free to tour the facility. One last note, for this event today, The Horseshoe Casino, one of the new casinos that had recently reopened, they've staffed our dealers training school with a few of their qualified dealers. So please feel free to try your hand at blackjack, roulette, or other tables. But Senator John is just a reminder, and just to be clear, this is workforce training, not real gambling, so no money is being exchanged. So now we'll move to our ribbon cutting. Thank you for being here.